Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. As you may know, there have been various changes suggested by Wargaming which are going to destroy the game. I'm afraid, yes, they are going to go ahead with the changes they suggested they would do to Arty and to HE in the sandbox, and now they're going to put them into effect on the main server. I'm afraid it will have a dreadful effect on the game.
Move out!
So I decided that what we would do instead is we're going to hark back to a golden age where things were a little better in the game. You're looking at a Waffenträger Alf E100, the tier 10 German tank destroyer that Wargaming took out of the game, and in doing so ruined some people's games because they rather enjoyed this beast. As you know, it's an autoloader. It's got 5 shells in the clip. They're 128mm in caliber, and they're capable of doing 490 alpha each. And they can fire those shells off with an inch clip of 2 seconds. So this thing used to be devastating. If it ever came across an enemy tank, it'd literally tear it apart in one clip. Now we're on the Fisherman's Bay map. It looks slightly different. In fact, I just played on this map in a modern Arty, and now I'm in the same map, but this time round we're in the Waffenträger. It's very loud, isn't it? And the clip is over. Now, as you may have noticed, the player is ineedcoffeedude, which was the co-founder of What Arty Noobs back in 2016, and this replay took place in June of 2015. Now he sent this replay to me as a golden oldie, and I thought, yeah, it'd be rather nice to do this. Wargaming does actually allow people to keep the copies of the clients, which enable them to run old games. Not every content creator can do this for you, but most have the ability to get hold of the clients and are happy to do a replay for you. But What Arty Noobs is special because we do more than anyone else in terms of replays, and we've always done the most to try and foster good Arty play in the game. But Wargaming is determined to destroy Arty. They don't want Arty, or rather the developers don't want Arty, and they're trying to destroy it. They tried with wheeled vehicles, and now they're trying to neuter it by taking away its ability to do damage to the enemy and its ability to do stuns, something they brought into the game to try and compensate for the loss of damage. But what they're doing instead is effectively taking Arty out of the game, and it's going to destroy the game. Now I can't understate that enough. This vehicle was taken out of the game because most people thought it was OP, but most people are very happy actually that it was back in the game for a special mode just recently. But I think some would like to have it back in the game properly.
Target acquired.
Well, I think people would like to have Arty back in the game.
We've torched them.
As it was.
Permission to engage.
Full cream on.
Enemy armor is hit. Enemy vehicle destroyed.
It's absolutely fantastic watching that done. You see, this ought to be still in the game, but Wargaming won't allow it. Why? Because certain players whine and they just, like spoilt children, they throw their toys out of the pram because they can't play the game properly when someone has one of these. It's the same with Arty. People don't like playing the game with Arty in it, but the reason they don't like playing the game with Arty in it is because they can't play the game. They're incapable. They're idiots. They don't know how to play the game with Arty. Arty players know how to play the game with Arty in the game, and they accept if they get hit by Arty. They know it's part of the game. They learn how not to get hit by Arty. That's how they play the game, and that's how the other people should play the game. But instead, they listen. Wargaming listens to the whining idiots who say, "Oh, we can't play the game. It's too difficult. It's always Arty. It's doing it to us." No, it's not Arty. It's the fact that you are incapable of playing the game properly. If you can't learn how to play the game, don't play the game. And if you can't learn how to live with Arty, play Arty, and then you'll find out how it's done. And then you'll be able to avoid it.
Target acquired.
He's locked onto that IS-3. That guy's about to die.
Target released.
Brilliant. Oh,
Target acquired.
yeah, got you. And another.
Ready to fire. Penetration.
And again. Brilliant. I just love it when this comes together. This vehicle should be in the game. Now, despite the fact that he's fighting a very difficult battle on this side of the map, and that IS-3 is, well, he's fighting all alone in that bunch of enemy tanks. And unfortunately, he has gone down. But our tank team is doing rather well on the other side of the map. And you can see that it won't be long before they actually get to the enemy cap, and the tanks just around the corner are going to have to find their way back. In fact, I don't think many of them will want to face the Waffenträger Alf E100 because they know it can take them out of the game very, very quickly.
Target acquired.
Okay, so we've got some more willing victims. Well, they're saying they're unwilling really in many ways, but they will be victims very shortly. There's the Waffenträger takes one. And he's gone. Oh, we've got a Leopard prototype behind us. He did manage to get around him, but he gets a critical hit and he's out the game.
Ready to fire.
The Jagdtiger tried to get a shot, but failed.
Where did they go?
So all of that attacking group have been destroyed except the Jagdtiger. And the Jagdtiger's unwilling to move in, but we can get a shot to his top of his turret.
That one didn't go through.
So we've got company now. We've got an M103 with us. And hopefully he'll be able to handle the Jagdtiger until we complete the reload. Reload time is 55.61 seconds. It is long, but it is very big shells. And I think that Jagdtiger's about to get one hell of a surprise when ineedcoffeedude comes over the edge. Oh, no, he got shot in the rear by someone. Can he squeeze through? Yep, he can. Time to die, Mr. Jagdtiger. Come in, Mr. Jagdtiger. Your time is up.
I don't see the target.
Oh, okay, he's gone. There's only 3 enemies left, and one of them is a Borsig. There he is. He's just the other side of the centre line. It looks like half the force actually went back to try and defend the cap area. They've got a Death Star, a Borsig, and a GW Tiger P. But it's absolutely clear on this side of the map now. And ineedcoffeedude is motoring as fast as this vehicle will go. 40 kilometers an hour is the top speed for this vehicle. And it doesn't have much in the way of armour. 18 millimeters at the front on the hull, 50 on the sides, and 40 on the rear. And the turret, well, that's just basically there for show. It's only 20 millimeters at the front, 10 millimeters at the sides, and 8 at the rear. And effectively the crew are open to the outside. Well, let's have a look at the score. You can see that ineedcoffeedude does actually have a Top Gun at this moment. I should have put those scores up right at the start, but I didn't because we were rather enjoying what he was doing to the enemy. Sadly, what we're going to get in the future is a whole load of games where it becomes camping or camp-offs against the enemy, because what will happen is without the ability to spot or force the enemy out of a position, the enemy is just going to go hull down, and when HE has no effect upon the enemy whatsoever, because effectively they've taken that out, then each game will end up in a stalemate where nobody can move forward. Now, it's not my words that says that. It's Wargaming's management team themselves. They told me years ago, they said, yeah, the reason why we need Arty in the game is simply because if we didn't have Arty in the game, virtually every game would end up as a camp-off where tanks would stand against each other, they wouldn't move, they would just go hull down, lob shells at each other, but nobody would actually make the first move, because they know if they make the first move, it'll probably be the losing move. Well, ineedcoffeedude has to move over to the other side of the battlefield, and he's moving up a tree line which has basically changed slightly in shape. You see, looks much better in the HD version, but it's still basically the same topography. Now, I think he's a bit reluctant to move outside this area at the moment because we don't know where the Borsig is. And the Borsig, well, he might be able to take him out with one shot if he's got the 15cm gun. Of course, as you know, the 15cm gun is 750, and the 128mm gun only does 490. It's a lot more accurate and quicker to reload. Now, of course, there's a windmill in here now, but yes, the topography is still basically the same. Wargaming used the basic same shell of a map, and they changed the ground slightly, added more features, and we found the rhyme of the Borsig. First shot misses, second doesn't, and that just leaves the Arty now.
Target acquired.
And he gets it with one shot, and that is a Radley's. What a beast. Let's have a look at the end of battle stats. Here's the end of battle stats, and it was an ace tanker for ineedcoffeedude in the Waffenträger Alf E100. He managed to get a 5 for effect for doing more damage than the hit points to his own vehicle, a duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him, a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He managed to get 10, but he also picked up an epic medal and 2 battle hero medals. He got the Radley Walters medal for getting at least 8 kills. He got those last 2 kills to make it up to 8. And he also got a high caliber for dealing the most damage in the battle, as well as a top gun for getting at least 6 kills. So very impressive. And you can see this battle took place on the 23rd of June 2015. Yes, 6 years ago. Let's have a look at the team score. Well, you can see the amount of damage he did was 6,562 hit points of damage. The next high scorer being the Borsig, who got 4,617, followed by their Death Star with 3,919. When it came to kills, yes, ineedcoffeedude got the highest with 8. The next high scorer being the Death Star with 3, and then there's a whole bunch of tanks with 2 kills apiece. The E5, the M103, the IS-7, the IS-3, and their T-49. And when it came to base XP, it's ineedcoffeedude, so he's got the top in all 3 columns. 1,272 to him. 826 went to the IS-5. That's the Objective 730, as it was back then in the game. And also the same amount, 826, also went to the IS-3 on our team. 23 shots fired, 18 direct hits, 15 penetrations. You only get 60 ammo capacity, but you certainly make a lot of use of it in the game. 6,562 hit points of damage, of which 2,174 were at more than 300 meters, most of it at close range. 3 hits received, all 3 penetrators. As I said, there's virtually no armor on this thing, but some might say it's a glass cannon, but it's an assassin. You meet one of these tanks in a corridor, you're gone. You know, it's like, it doesn't matter what heavy tank you're in, you're going to die very, very quickly. 9 enemy vehicles were damaged, 8 were killed, 692 hit points of damage assistance. On a premium count, he earned 68,981 credits, and after repair and ammunition resupply took away 24,575 credits. 1,908 XP times 2 for the first victory, 3,816 experience points altogether. There are many people who would love to see this vehicle return to the game, just as there are many Arty players, nearly 20% of the player base, who would prefer Arty to be left alone as it is right now, or even to take it back to as it was pre 9.18, where it had full cream, where an Arty could one-shot one of these out of the game with no problem whatsoever. Of course, back then, Arty was not as accurate as it is today. It was a lot more inaccurate, and chances are you weren't going to one-shot somebody out of the game, but if you're a good player, you might be able to do it. I've actually done some comparison videos showing what it's like back then and showing what it's like now for Arty. And I suggest to some players that maybe they need to check it out and look at those two videos. There's one, I think, on the M53, M55. I think there's another one on the Object 261, or it may be other Arty, but certainly I will do more of them, actually, to compare and show people how good the T92 or the M53, M55 was back then at taking out enemy tanks. I do remember one community contributor firing a shot during a stream from his T92 and one-shotting a 113 Chinese heavy tank by shooting it with an armor piercing round straight through the rear of the engine bay and blew it to smithereens. We want those things back in the game, but of course Wargaming won't let it. Just like they won't let the Waffenträger Alpha E100 appear in the game. Well, we want it back in the game. We think it should be in the game, not in a special mode, all the time. It will be fun playing against something like this, even though it is a bit of a glass cannon. It'll certainly be a challenge to try and take it down, just as we want Arty to remain the same. So I hope you enjoyed that replay. We're going to be doing more replays from way back when Arty was fun and when other tanks were in the game but are not in the game anymore, so you can get a feel for what it was like back then, back in the golden age, when wargaming was still fresh and World of Tanks was still fun. I'm afraid it's rapidly developing into a clown show where all you see is these Mario Karts running around all over the place, completely obliterating any vehicle they come across. I'm afraid Wargaming are going to ruin their own game. In fact, they are doing so already by making these changes, and we plead with them not to do so, because if you do, you're going to lose 20% of your player base. Can you afford to lose that many people? Probably not. But if you do lose them, those people are going to go to other games. They're not going to come back to this game. They're going to say you ruined the game for them. They're not going to play it again. So do think carefully, Wargaming, because you might be pulling the plug on World of Tanks. Thanks for watching.